Hi Flosstube! Thanks for coming back and joining me on another installment of my channel. Today is August 7th, 2018, and this is Flosstube number 3. 1, 2, and 3. This is the out-of-town engagements because this past weekend I was out in Washington, D.C. Yay! I have a friend who lives there and who I met through the theater. He came down here to New York City over the summer, over very early summer, and we were in one of the in-person lottery lines for the show called Once on This Island, which is fantastic. And I only needed one ticket, and he only needed one ticket, and I won. My name was drawn. And so I said, does anybody need a ticket? And he said, hey, I just need one ticket. So we went to the line together, started chatting, found we have a lot of theater interest in common. And so we became friends. Yay! So now I get to go visit him in New York City. In Washington, D.C. He comes over here every so often for shows and a lot of other stuff. So I was in DC trying to get out of the heat in New York City. It was much better. It was really gorgeous day. I think I had a little bit of rain when I got in on Saturday morning. No, getting out of New York Saturday morning. There was some rain, but it cleared up by the time we got to DC. Just a few hours later, I took the bus. It was $50 round trip. And you know, it's 4 hours. If you think about between getting myself to the airport, taking an airplane, getting from the airport in DC to where he lives, it's probably going to be about the same amount of time. And let me tell you, this was $55 round trip. So I left on Saturday morning, came back Sunday night. I saw 2 shows, yay, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And did a little bit of touristing, did the trolley tours. And I love those things. Whenever I go to a city, I try to do the trolley tours because you can sit and just hop on and off. Same thing with the big buses and the double-decker buses, but I like the old trolleys. They're pretty good across a bunch of cities, so I just stick with them. It's a known thing. But it's nice because you learn some fun facts about the place you're going, and you can just sit and relax and let them chat, and then hop on and off wherever you want. So you get to see what you want, where you want. DC is fantastic. Oh my gosh, the museums are gorgeous. I went to two places. I went to the Postal Museum, which is really cool because they have the Hamilton Burr dueling guns. Yay, wow. Who would have thought in the post office and the Postal Museum. So that was pretty neat and unexpected. And then I went to the Renwick Gallery. It's part of the Smithsonian conglomerate of museums right now, and that is the American Art Gallery, one of the smaller ones. Right now they have a Burning Man exhibition, which, wow, I highly recommend. If you're there before January of 2019, check it out. It's really, really worth it. Wow, it's crazy. If you're familiar with Burning Man, at least in concept, and I am, the stuff they had there was, woo, wow, just really visual and amazing. I'm gonna post a picture here as I talk. There was one part of the exhibit where you come in and there's this big arch, and then there's these little eye holes within the piece, and when you look through them, it's these tiny little scenes. So that was really cool. There were 4 scenes. One was a theater, the other one had a spider and some stuff. There was a garden, and then there was something else. I forget what the 4th one was, but you'll see it here as I post them and talk. It's gorgeous. Wow, take your camera because they actually encourage photography, which is great, right? But anyways, I saw those 2, saw 2 shows, spent some time with my friend, brought back my "You Are Here" mug from Washington, D.C. I don't have too many of these because I just don't have space for the whole collection in my apartment. But I've got the special places, you know, New York City, Miami where I grew up, Arizona where I spent some time, Austin because my brother lives there, Minneapolis because my aunt lives there, and now Washington, D.C. Yay! And I am drinking my elderberry tea. Delicious. It's an herbal tea that I found at a store called McNulty's. Oops. It is in the West Village, in Greenwich Village. It's a tea and coffee store, very old. Established 1895, so yay, it's delicious. I'm completely hooked. And it's really a great light tea for the summer. I keep this in the fridge. I put some powdered lemonade, and it is, oh my gosh, it's so good. It's really, really delicious. So that was what I did last weekend. Yay! So today's shows we're going to talk about were all out-of-town engagements. Shows that I've seen not in New York City. And actually both of these are New York bound. Yay! Well, 2 out of the 3. We'll talk about the 3rd. So first I want to give out thank you so much and a shout out to Nicole Buckeye Stitcher for mentioning me in one of her videos. Thank you so much. You're such a sweetheart. If you don't know Nicole, she is from Ohio. She was one of the organizers for StitchCon, and she and her husband manned the shuttle that ran from the airport to the hotel, and then from the hotel to Keepsakes during StitchCon this year. And oh wow, her husband is a dear. Oh, poor guy, he just kept going back and forth, but what a wonderful guy. So thank you, Nicole, for the shout out and for being such a fantastic person. The second person I want to shout out is Silver Scissors. I hope I got that right. Elizabeth, she lives in Colorado, and she's actually does acting in the theater. Yay! So hopefully she'll get to come here to New York City and we can actually meet in person. So thank you both for the lovely, lovely shout outs. As always, much appreciated and much love back to you. I've gotten a few questions and comments, so thank you so much for everybody who has commented on my videos. I really appreciate them. And as always, if there's any place that you want us to visit, because remember I'm going to be doing an on location every single video. So if there's a place you want me to go and visit and show you and maybe give you some fun facts, let me know and I'll add it to the list. Last time we went to Times Square, and today we're gonna go to Union Square and to the Strand Bookstore. Yay! From that project that I did a little while back. The Strand books. You'll actually get to see the store that this is inspired by or inspired from. So you'll get to see those. A few more things I wanted to mention that have come from questions or comments. If any of you are Downton Abbey fans, there's an exhibition running right now in New York City, pictures, that runs through Labor Day, so September 3rd. It is, wow, it is amazing. If you are a fan, and the reason I mention is because I believe they're going to go on tour. So if they're coming to a city near you or you hear about it, definitely make sure you go. It is fantastic. It's really a lot of fun. They recreated the kitchen, the downstairs kitchen. They recreated, what other room did they recreate? There was another room. All of the gowns are on display. Oh my goodness! The detail in these costumes are amazing. And oh my God, the ladies are so skinny. They're so, I don't know, lucky. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that they do to stay in that shape. But wow, just beautiful detail, the lace, the trimming, the beads. Oh my goodness, gorgeous. Definitely don't miss it. Make sure you go with time. You don't want to have to hurry through the exhibition because it is gorgeous. It's really, and they did a really good job. There's lots of little small tidbits about the show, about the history of the times, about each character and their story, and all of that. So definitely go catch that. Rosemary Sawyers, yay! I'm so glad that she's gonna start the gingerbread cottage. After seeing my video, she said she wanted to start stitching that. Yay! Great. I do have a second cottage that I'm working on. I have it all stitched up, but I haven't finished it. So maybe I'll do a finishing video on that, because if you read the instructions, they are daunting. Don't be scared. Do it one step at a time, and you'll be fine. One other thing, Lisa 1968, she asked if I could do some videos about just life in general here, and I absolutely will. And as we visit different things, I'll also add tidbits on what it's like here. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, you walk a lot of places, but it's not that bad. You know, we get used to stuff. So basically, if you're gonna go somewhere, you're going to walk, you're gonna take some sort of transportation, and you're gonna walk again. For example, if I'm taking the train to Broadway, to a Broadway show, I'm going to walk from my house to the train station, jump on the subway. Luckily I can take an express train to Times Square stop, get off of there, and then walk a couple of blocks to the show. So that's how life is here. You get used to it. It's not too bad. Depends on where you go. So we'll have a little on location about how to get around town. And I'll go into more detail. But thank you, Lisa 1968, for that comment. All right, now that we've got intros out of the way, let's start with what you're here to see. And this week, yay, I have some haul. I've been trying really hard to control my spending because I have so many projects, as you saw in my Sterilites last week. 3 boxes full of stuff that I really don't need anything new. That being said, like all of you, I'm sure I have a big fear of FOMO, fear of missing out, FOMO. So I don't want to miss out on a limited edition or a Christmas edition, Halloween edition, you know how it is. And you fall in love with it and you want it right now. But I'm really trying to control my impulses and not buy. But that being said, I did get a couple of things this week, so I wanted to share those. The first one is that I did get the fabric for the piece on Earth SAL that starts on August 12th. That's with Sarah Elliott and Stitch All the Things, or she Stitch All the Things. I think it's Sarah Elliott on her channel and then Stitch All the Things. They're doing the SAL, and I'll put the link below so you can join and you can see their videos where they actually introduce and they tell you what it is. I'm doing the gray version. This is Dove fabric, and I really like it. It's a lot greener than I thought it would be, but it's a green, it's a green gray. I'm not getting a good color. You're seeing it a little bit washed out. It's a bit richer, but not too much. And I found it from Ye Old Cross Stitchery in Bristol, PA. So pretty close to me. It came really fast. So thank you so much, lady, for that. I really appreciate it. And they have plenty of fabric because I wanted to make sure that they had some before the SAL started. And they said they've got plenty of this. So if you're interested in the gray colorway, which is what I'm doing, green, gray, Dove colorway, they have plenty of fabric. And I have the floss on order for my LNS. I'm just waiting for it to come in. So I should have that before we start on the 12th, which is in 5 days. Yay! Okay, the second order I placed was to Hirschner's because this is the current cross-stitch Christmas book that is available and on sale for a ridiculous price, for $3.99. Oh my gosh. It's the 2014 version of the book. I bought it for this design. I didn't really find many more designs that I loved, but for $3.99, which is a lot less than I would have paid for this, just this pattern, I get a whole book. So that was fantastic. And because patterns shouldn't travel alone, I found this. These are ugly sweater knit ornaments. So they're really tiny. Woo, I hope that's a little bit, that they're a little bigger than what they look. But it comes with all the yarn. How cool is that? Yay. Yep. So hopefully, I did learn to knit one year, but I need to practice again. I really put that away. Another piece of haul. This is an older purchase, but I had forgotten it because I couldn't find one of the needle minders from the Perfectly Imperfect Stitcher. Imperfectly Perfect Stitcher needle minders. They're on Etsy. Oh, she's on Etsy. I had purchased this Ouija board needle minder. Isn't that so cool? Oh, it's gonna be fantastic for when I stitch my Ouija board pattern that I got recently. Oh yeah, that was a haul, but it wasn't in the mail. It was a digital download, so I can't show you because I only printed out the pattern itself, not the cover. But I'll put a picture right here, if I remember. So this week was a bit disappointing for me in my stitchy time. I had a bit of a life issue. So I'm still trying to get that resolved. I'll let you know how that goes later. But I wasn't able to stitch as much as I wanted. I'm so sad. So sad. And we got through celebrating Jessie Marie's 5th Flosstube anniversary. And we had a challenge, which was stitch on something for 5 days. The first day start with a J, that starts with a J. Second day D, third day S. No, sorry. J, M, D, S, and then the 5th day, whatever you wanted to stitch. So day 1 for me was July, and that was for the July section of my Long Dog Sampler. You saw it in the same state it was last week. I had already stitched for the day by the time I recorded, and I have stitched nothing on it. I'm so disappointed. Second day was M, so that was for me, that was Martha of George and Martha from Plum String Samplers. I did get some work done. Yay, I finished a lot of the red, and I'm a little concerned because I feel like I have very little red. This is the cobbler red. Oh, it's gorgeous. I love the variegation. But so I'm gonna stitch all of the red first to make sure I don't run out of that. These were the bigger pieces, and then there's a flag up here somewhere and lots of little tiny motifs. But cool thing is that I took this to DC, so I was actually stitching in the shadow of the state capitol. So that was pretty cool. I thought, you know, if I'm going to DC, I better take something DC related, and George and Martha on top of Mount Vernon is pretty DC related. And my friend and I have already talked about for me to go back, and we want to go and spend the day at Mount Vernon. He hasn't gone there either. He's been there for a long time, but he still hasn't gone. So that will be in the works in a future visit to DC, and I'll definitely take pictures. And that's why I want to finish this one up so that I can take it with me to Mount Vernon, which would be really cool. The next one was D. For me it was Death. So that was my last stitch cemetery. What you saw in the video was it because, again, no stitching time. S, and this is what I was excited about because it was the next day after my video came out. Oh, I'm so disappointed. And just life gets in the way, right, of your stitching time. This is the August month, see if I can get a better angle, of Ingleside Imaginarium's Guardians of Notre Dame year-long mystery sale. Whew, say that 5 times fast. This is Satine, and Satine because of Moulin Rouge, yay! So that is my Broadway connection to this awesome piece. I'm getting through. You can almost kind of see the face up here, the snout and the ear. So this is an ear up here. And I'll get that done in the next couple of days. That'll be fine. But this is my baby. I love to stitch this, and I usually try to get it done on the first day of the month, and we're already on the 7th, and yeah. Anyways, life, what can you do? So then the bonus project, and I'm really happy about this because I finished it, yay! Where's my bell? Where's my little Pam and Steph bell? But I was able to finish this. I finished stitching it on the bus to DC, and then I was doing the finishing on the bus back, but then it got just a little too bumpy, and it was late at night because I left DC at 9 p.m. on Sunday night. I didn't get home till very late on Monday morning. but that's okay. That let me spend as much time as I could in DC, spend some time with my friend, and then take a shower and get ready and all that fun stuff. But anyways, are you ready? Because it came out really cute. I love it. So here it is. It is needles and pins. And go check out my Instagram, Broadway Stitcher. You can see some more pictures because this light is just really, really bright. As I mentioned, the variegated border that I have on the front wasn't supposed to be there. I was stitching this at the DMV, so I'm gonna blame them. And I just decided for whatever reason that this needed a border in the front. But I made it work. As you can see, it still says needles and pins. And the original said needles and pins. So there you can get an idea of what the original looked like. Down here. And then this is mine. And then to bling it up a little bit, I added the little beads for the bubbles. So that just gives it a nice little bling. And you're not gonna see a good picture here. On the back are my initials and the year. I'm a little disappointed that the pattern didn't come with a alphabet and the numbers so that we could personalize our own. She just has her initials, which, come on, how often are her initials your initials, right? So I wish she would have put in a alphabet, but no worries. I just grabbed one from the internet. You know, it's 3 letters, no big deal. And then again, the border shouldn't be there. These are redfish and the bubbles. And also the eyes are also beads. Ugh, God, I need to get better lighting. So again, those are also the black beads, blue beads, and I just dropped the motifs into, I used PC Stitch, the program for cross stitch, and I was just able to drop them in, and then I would just move it around until it looked more decent. So here, if you want to see both sides, that's the front. And then the inside, the inside is what it should be. So it is supposed to be stitched. The border is supposed to be there. These are 2 pieces of felt that I just glued on. I cut them out with pinking shears to give them a little more interesting edge. I glued them and then I tacked them on with a few little stitches. And look how perfect the little pins, the mini pin set from the Hands-On Designs by the Sea. I think that's the design. Yeah, Ose Can You See? Here it is. This design. Those are the pins that go with that design. But look how cute! So they can stay here until I stitch the other one. I'm gonna do the drum on that one. The other thing I did also, if you notice, you see it's pretty tough. What I did is to give it a little more strength so it actually stands up without problem and it doesn't go all wobbly on me, is that I inserted 2 pieces of quilting template on each side. And that looks like this. This is the one I bought and I use these. They work perfectly fine for me. I've had no issues. And let me show you what it looks like. It's a little piece of plastic, almost like a cardstock. No, less than a cardstock, between a piece of paper and a cardstock thickness. But it's plastic and you get empty sheets or you also get lined sheets. And really what I did is I just measured the inside. Make sure you give yourself room for the fabric to actually fold over. So for example, on this one, I measured to about where this border ends, not where the blue is, to give myself space for it to fold over. And then as I was stitching this together with a whip stitch, and there's lots of tutorials on the internet of how to do that, I slipped in the 2 pieces, and that's why I have this stitch line down the middle here, so that keeps the 2 pieces separate. I didn't want them to slide into each other and then you wouldn't be able to fold it and whatnot. So that is Needles and Pins needle book. It's called By the Ocean from Romy's Creation. So yay, a finish. Ding, 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 ding. I went out of town this past weekend to go see some shows and to meet up with my friend in Washington, D.C. These are the 2 shows I went to see. Yay! Bridges of Madison County was has been on Broadway. The music was written by Jason Robert Brown, who is amazing. I saw his song cycle, he calls it, called Songs for a New World, just a few weeks back in City Center, and it was, oh my goodness, it was so good. And they have a cast album coming out. I'm so excited. It was really fantastic. But Bridges of Madison County, based on the movie, so you all know the story. This was, it wasn't my cup of tea. The story itself is very slow, right? We all know that from the movie. And the style of music was it felt very operatic. And it was, Kelly O'Hara originally starred in the Broadway show, and some of the music was written for her ability, which is fantastic. And I bet you if I had seen it with Kelly O'Hara on Broadway with a full orchestra, I would have loved it. The lady who was the lead was amazing, but I think the theater was the theater is a little smaller, so I think her voice just was overwhelming for the space. But the acting was great, the singing was great, just the story for me and the style of the music wasn't as great as I thought. But the real reason I had gone to DC is for Dave, yay! Based on the movie called Dave, about a guy who is a lookalike for the president, and he goes in as a substitute president, kind of, and comedy ensues. So it's a semi-romantic comedy, not too much romance, but a comedy. I really liked it. The songs, not very memorable, but what I went in wanting was fun, humorous, cute story, and that's what I got. So as long as you go in with that, then I think you'll like it. It was fun, a lot of political digs, a lot of political jokes. There were a couple of shots at Trump, so this is going to transfer to Broadway sometime, pretty soon. So it is going to be interesting to see what they keep and what they change. But it was a lot of fun. This was at Arena Stage where Dear Evan Hansen was before it came here. No, I didn't see that. I didn't do Out of Town until these past few years, unfortunately. It stars Drew Gelling, who was the original Dr. Pomatter in Waitress. So if you like him, you like his style. It is directed by Tina Landau, who also directed SpongeBob SquarePants from last week. And it's cute. It's a cute show. So for this show, tickets are very expensive. So $176 for a regular price ticket, whew, that's pretty steep. So what I did is I kept an eye out on ticket availability because they normally have a thing called hot ticks, which is similar to Rush. I think it's like 30 minutes or 1 hour before the show. If they have enough unsold seats, they sell them at a much discounted price. But of course, you take the chance that there won't be seats available, right? So I have been eyeing tickets for the longest time to see how it was selling. And it's selling really good, really well. It's actually selling out at a bunch of performances, and I was scared that I wasn't gonna make it because it closes on the 19th. So there's only a couple of weekends left before it closes. But anyways, so I kept hounding the website to see how many tickets were available, and they finally put out what's called added seats for the Saturday night show, which is great because I could go into town Saturday morning, hang out, do some sightseeing, and then go to the show. And it's great. It was fantastic. I loved it. Oh, best seats in the house. It was actually the area behind center orchestra, behind the last row and center orchestra. They added a section of bar height chairs. So great view, no tall heads, because I'm short and every single time I end up with the tallest person sitting in front of me. who is sitting next to a short person. Oh, so frustrating. So I had no obstructions, dead center, almost dead center. The theater is small, so it does sell out, and it's very popular. Can you imagine a political comedy musical in DC? So yeah, but I'm so glad I saw it. Looking forward to it coming to New York City. I think it's gonna do well. Like I said, it's cute. It's not heavy, it's not profound, it's not gonna change your life, but it's gonna be a cute night of comedy, and the jokes are gonna be quite interesting. So check it out. Dave playing at Arena Stage until August 19th in Washington, D.C., or wait till it comes to New York City sometime next year. Okay? Today I'm going to share a couple of my older FFOs, none of which are cross stitch. Let's just put a little twist on things today. Why not? Why the heck not, right? And you know why? Because I have hit 100 subscribers. Yay! So thank you so much, everybody. For those of you who have subscribed, I really appreciate it. In 30 days, I just have to wait 30 more days, and then I can personalize my YouTube link so that it can say youtube.com/Broadway Stitcher. Yay! Not that blah, 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 gibberish, gibberish, gibberish. So the things I want to show you today, they're going to be 3 things. Yes. So the first thing, and it is related to cross stitch, is this gorgeous needle keeper. Okay, let me turn it around, turn it around. It is a design by Sue Hawkins, and this is her pansy line. And you can see this was stitched so long ago that I didn't know what I was doing. So I inadvertently looped the floss through the needle rather than doing like a little knot thingy that would come apart. So these needles are forever in here. Unless, like I've already done twice, you see these things, these horrible looking knots? That's because I've cut through the floss. Whoops. So I had to knot those up and put it back. And you would think I would have learned my lesson and taken the needle out. Nope, didn't do it. But this is so adorable. Isn't it fantastic? It's needlepoint specialty stitches. I wouldn't quite call it needlepoint, but I guess it is more needlepoint than anything else. But it is a needle keeper, and she has the whole line. So this is the pansy. Let me show it to you here. There is the pattern or the kit, and it did come as a kit. So it brought the floss, the pattern, the canvas to stitch on, the felt for the lining, and whatnot. And it's really nice because she has a whole set. And let me see, and I have them all. They are a little pricey. At least I thought they were pricey when I got them. This is the pin cushion, and this is the needle book. So eventually I'll stitch those. They're just so pretty. I love the colors and whatnot. But what I was thinking is, why don't we do a giveaway? I'm gonna pass a stash on this one because this pattern or this color set is not available anymore. I looked it up, and I looked on her website directly, and I looked on a couple of other websites, and I didn't find it. She still is putting out patterns and other things in these types of finishes, but not the pansy, which is gorgeous here. So this is the finish that you would get, and I do have the leftover threads. I don't think that it had the DMC colors. I gotta find the actual pattern. I know where it is. It's in one of my Sterilites, but I just gotta grab it. I don't think it had the colors of floss, and it may not actually be DMC because these colors, I don't know, the floss doesn't quite look DMC, but maybe it is. But I'll put in all the extras, and there's extras of every color. That way you can just go into your stash, go into your floss box, and pick as closer colors if you like, or if you want to change them all, that's great. Okay, so if you'd like to take this home with you, and I'll ship it anywhere, wherever you like, just put a comment that says something about scissors, scissor keeper, that you would like to stitch the scissor keeper or the scissor pouch or pansy. Any of those words. Be 18 or over, subscribe to my channel, like this video, just subscribe to my channel. Let's not make it complicated. Subscribe to my channel and put a comment, and then next week I'll go ahead and pick someone from all the comments that were received. Again, I loved this when I made it. I've had it for years. It's weathered really well, and I hope you'll like it too. Yay! Okay, number 2, the second item. Oh, I love this thing. Okay, I made this in 2003, and it's not going to film well, no matter what I do. It's a beautiful box, and are these the Woodbury boxes? I'm not sure. Or maybe they made them there. I actually went back home in 2003 for a visit, and I wanted to do a class just because I had some spare time. It was probably during Christmas time or some holiday. So I found a needlepoint store up in Fort Lauderdale. We live in Miami. They're in Fort Lauderdale. It's about an hour away. No big deal. The store is no longer there. I know they're gone out of business right now, which is so sad. But I didn't know how to needlepoint yet, and so I took this class. It's a great beginner project because there's not a lot of stitches, but they're interesting enough, and you pick the color scheme that you like. So these look faded, and it's gonna be a combination. I did pick light colors. Here, these are really dark, but the outside colors are really light. That down here is a light yellow. You can see this is a light blue, light green, and light purple. And then with time, I mean, this has been 15 years ago now. It definitely has faded, but it's still gorgeous. I finished this myself, believe it or not. Ooh, can you believe that? That is gorgeous if I do say so myself. It's got a little padding on here, the trim, and my mom may have helped me because this is way too perfect for me for 2003. Put a little cover there so you don't see the join part, and then it goes into this beautiful box. And then I also added a little, a little insert thing, and this is how I know I did it in 2003 because I stitched this, Carmen Patricia Arguello. Oh, for my birthday. So I went home for my birthday in 2003 and stitched that. And then this folds in. This is just a simple hard anger border stitched on some sort of a linen. And this says, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. And I put in, you know, rings, old little keepsakes that I like to keep and treasure. So that is my intro to needlepoint. And it is actually a Jenny Moreau design called First Steps. It is meant to be a teaching project, which is fantastic. This is the book. As you can see, those colors are not my colors, but the point is that you do a darker, a medium, and a light, and then you do 4 different colors, and then they cross each other. So if you can see, for example, here you have whatever color that is. It's almost like an aqua and a red, and they're kind of half and half, but then here you go more red and here you go more blue. So this stitch and this stitch are the same. It's just which color goes on top that gets the emphasis. So I definitely recommend it. Super thin book. And Jenny Moreau Designs, I'll put any links I find down here. This book was copyrighted 1993. So I made it 10 years after it was published. Fantastic, fantastic pattern to learn how to stitch, how to needlepoint. And then the last one, and sorry, I need to take out some pins. I didn't realize I still had them. When I was not living here yet, but I actually visited on a business trip, I decided to go look for a quilt store, And at that time, we still had City Quilter here in New York City. Oh, great store. They have a fantastic line of New York City themed fabrics that are gorgeous. Oh, they're so much fun. But anyways, so one time when I visited them, I came in, and did I see this there? Yes. They had this, and if you're looking away, look at me now. Because this is so cool. Look at this cube. Okay, are you ready? Look at that. Oh, 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 it's the taxi cabs. But wait, wait, wait. Oh, shoot, it's the skyline. But wait, wait, wait. It's going into a square with white skyline fabric. But wait, oh, there's black subway fabric. So this thing is so cool. It's like, it's an infinity puzzle. It's like a Rubik's, remember Rubik's Cube? They came out with the second puzzle thing. But this thing just keeps on going. You flip and 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 flip, and it just keeps going and going and going. I love this. The styrofoam inserts are made by a lady named Carla. Kits by Carla is her name. And the kit comes with 8 styrofoam cubes. They're 2-inch square cubes, and instructions on how to make it so that either you don't care or your fabrics line up. So when I made this first one, I didn't realize that it is important to have your fabrics facing a certain direction. So take a look at that. Do you see something? Because I see something. Yep. The cabs right here are upside down. Urgh! And I didn't see that until it was all stitched up. Yeah. So I actually sent her a note saying, hey, is there any way that I can figure out how to get these to line up so that next time I do it, if I wanted to have fabrics line up, I could have them line up. And she did, and she actually put out a new version of the pattern which has directional fabric instructions. So if you wanted to line up a certain way, for example, these two, at least they're in the right direction, right? Or right orientation, they're up this way. But these fabrics here are all from the City Quilter. She does not have these exact ones. Most of these exact ones are not available anymore. I don't think this one is. I went in there recently and she has some New York City, but not those exact ones, which is really sad. So I am hoarding what I have like you don't believe. But I took that idea and I ran with it. Last year when Groundhog Day came out, you know Groundhog Day, where he just repeats over and over, and you try to get to the next day but you come back to the same thing. I thought, oh my gosh, how perfect would that be to mix Groundhog Day with that type of plush. So I went and had a little fun with my computer and some iron-on fabric or printable fabric, and I made a Groundhog Day, dang it. Okay, there we go. A Groundhog Day puzzle. And I had the whole cast sign it, of course. And I actually made one for them, and they took it into their dressing rooms and whatnot. But that is the playbill cover, of course, right? Erg. I'm not gonna get a good picture. Then we flip it, and we get the picture that they took on their way to the Tony Awards. Yay, because they were nominated for Tonys. Then we get a scene from the show, which is part of one of the songs. There's no town greater than Punxsutawney on Groundhog Day. And then there is, they put out on social media some, funny little things. And so I put in 4 of those and had each of the actors sign it. Yay! And then, what's next? Let's see what's in. Okay, of course, Groundhog, the Groundhog, Punxsutawney Phil, right? Coming out of the subway in New York City subway, right? Can't go wrong with that. And then, oh, and then just a little collage of just little words that they would say between Andy Carl, yay, Mr. Pretty Woman, and Barrett Doss. She is now Station 19. She did a show, and it got picked up for season 2, so yay! Congratulations to you. Just some words that they say throughout the show. And then it's back to the playbill. And then you just keep going, and the fun thing is, it just repeats over and over again, right? So just like the movie, this just repeats over. So I had so much fun making it. It was such a trip. Everyone loved it. I loved it. And so of course these are 4 of the Groundhog Day colors, kind of. So I am really, my mind is already working on how I can adapt this for cross stitch. So stay tuned, we'll see how that works. I do have extra sets of the styrofoams. So I'm just trying to figure out what I could put, because these are basically 2 by 2 inch squares. So you've got 2 by 2 or 2 by 4. So I'm thinking maybe like some tiles, something squarish. So if you have any ideas, let me know. That would be really great. Otherwise, I'm sure I can come up with something. No worries about that. Okay, those are the 3 FFOs I wanted to show you. And let's see what's next. In the past few years, I have started actually heading out of town to go view theater, because as much fantastic theater as there is in New York City, there are good things that play outside of New York City, believe it or not. And I'm jesting, there's lots of theater that is fantastic. If you're in Chicago, if you're in Denver, if you're in the West Coast San Francisco area, if you're up in Seattle, Portland area, there's a lot of shows that start there, and that's where they do their pre-Broadway tryout. Sometimes they're called, or they'll do a workshop or a really early staging of the show. And so you get to see some things that are really, really neat before they become super mega. But another show that I saw in another city, I went down to Boston. It was wicked good. Is Moulin Rouge. If you can. It is the spectacle that you think you're going to see. So let me show you again. This is the playbill, and we did stage door. As you can see, we were outside waiting for the actors to come out, and a lot of them did, but it was raining, very light rain, so not everybody came out. But it is quite the spectacle. If you saw the movie, you liked the movie, you're almost probably for sure going to like the show. They have updated all the songs that, well, not all the songs, the majority or a lot of the songs that are used in the mashups throughout the show. Of course, I saw the movie. I've been listening to the soundtrack for that movie for, I don't know, 20 years now, 20 plus years, almost 30, I think. So I love those songs, and that's what I wanted to see. But I understand that we've got to change with the times, and there's actually some good songs that were put in that were very appropriate for the show. But they did keep the big stuff, right? Roxanne, We Should Be Lovers, and all those that I'm not going to sing because I don't sing. You don't want to hear me sing. But they did a really good job. I can't wait to see how it comes out here in New York City, because holy smokes, yeah, it's one of those shows. Like we talked about Harry Potter last time with the set. This is another one of those with the set. I'm putting pictures up here so you can see. There's a windmill, and it turns. So there's a huge red windmill stage right where the boxes are. There's a huge blue elephant stage left, up in the boxes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's and Sonia Taye. I am so sorry if I mispronounced your name. She choreographed the show, and she is amazing. Oh my word. If you saw So You Think You Can Dance, she did a lot of the choreography for them, and she's done a ton of stuff. She's just amazing. And this we paired with Jagged Little Pill, which is another really good show. It needs work, I'll be honest with you, but it's Alanis Morissette, you can't go wrong, right? Talk about emotional music made for Broadway, right? Made for Broadway. So anyways, Moulin Rouge playing in Boston at the Emerson Colonial, I think until September, or is it late August? If you get a chance. If not, it is coming to Broadway. We're all on pins and needles to try to figure out what Broadway house it's going to, because it needs to be big and elaborate, kind of thing. So keep in tune for that. And hey everyone, look what I found in a bookstore. Just kidding. This is that Strand Bookstore kit that I showed you all stitched up, and just wanted to show you the store that made it happen. This is the Strand Bookstore in New York City. Today is a gorgeous Saturday afternoon, and you can see the store is full of patrons all looking for some excellent books. Lots and lots of stacks, lots and lots of new books out, but they also have some older books, and I believe there's also a special editions or hard to find books. So let's go take a look outside at that infamous dollar cart that is featured in the cross stitch. And now we are outside the Strand Bookstore. Here are those famous dollar carts, as you can see. Let's walk through some. And great way to find nice, greatly priced book. And there's carts that go down a few steps down that way, and a few steps down this way. And today is a gorgeous Saturday afternoon, and you can see, as you saw inside, there were lots and lots of people. And yeah, it's a lot of fun just to come and peruse. And inside, I didn't want to film too much because I had to ask a manager for permission. So I just wanted to get a quick view. But they also sell, they have a whole wall of pins. They have a wall of socks. So you can get all these literary themed socks available. And now I want to show you the entrance, which right now they're doing some construction because those green walls are normally not there. And yeah, so it's really cool. It's a lot of fun area here. Over here by those trees that you see up there is Union Square. Really popular area. We are down on 12th Street, and that's 14th Street, Union Square. That's what the stations, the trains, the subways that come down here will always say as they're rolling into town. After the Strand, if you've got a little bit of extra time, make sure you head on over to Union Square. Here we continue our gorgeous Saturday afternoon. You can see the sky is beautiful blue. Not too hot, which is fantastic after all that rain we've had. Union Square is one of the bigger parks here in New York. Lots of subway stations, subway trains come here and stop. So you get a lot of traffic, foot traffic here. Sometimes people will come and have little concerts here, play dominoes, play cards, whatnot, shoot the breeze. And then it's hard to tell, but if you can see that sculpture right there, it looks like rock candy, and at night it's lit up and it's really cool. But what I really wanted to show you here, if you do make it to Union Square, make sure you look up at this installation. If you can see its numbers moving across and you're thinking, oh, what is that? Well, it's actually the time, it's a clock. So right now it's 16, there's a 1 in front there of that 6. So it's 16:50, so 4:50 p.m. 25 seconds, and then milliseconds or bits of seconds, tenths of a second. And then the numbers after it is the amount of time remaining in the day. So first you've got international time of the day, time of day, and then the remaining amount of time till the end of the day. And that's pretty cool. So, and if you forget your watch or you don't have your phone with you, it's pretty easy to take a look. And one of the famous yellow taxis here, although that's a little more modern than your normal ones. Thank you everyone for joining me on FlossTube number 3, the out-of-town engagement. If you like my video, please like, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you can know when I put a new video out. Remember, add a comment if you would like the pattern for the scissor keeper. So put in your comments something about scissors or scissor keeper, scissor pouch, or pansy keeper, something to that effect. Do not say giveaway or I'll have to delete your comment. Make sure you're a subscriber, and I will see you next week. Bye.